going on, my boxing family? It's your boy AJ Rage. This is Enter the Ring Live on November 24th, 2023. Let's talk a little Benavidez Andrade this Saturday, November 25th, live from the Michelob Ultra Arena in Las Vegas. I was hoping to get my brothers on here. They might jump in later. This is just a quick update. This is just my reaction based on the weigh-ins today. I'm not going to go through each individual fighter. There was a couple that kind of basically stood out to me a little bit and stuff. I think the thing that really got to me was I'm really perplexed about Jermall Charlo coming in heavy. Don't get me wrong; he looks in shape. He looks strong. He's got a lot of physical advantages over Jose Benavidez. Even Jose Benavidez at 160 pounds, this being the first time, him really venturing in there against a top quality guy, you can't really consider the bout against Danny Garcia because, let's be honest, Danny Garcia is not really a natural. I believe the fight was at 154 pounds. It comes down to this. I don't know how seriously Jermall is really taking this fight. This is going to say a lot. This is going to be a make it or break it fight for Jermall Charlo. His brother Jamel has been the one to take the risks. Obviously, he's got a couple losses on his record, but if you had to look at who's branded better in boxing, it's going to be Jamel. Jamel, there's no disgrace in losing against a guy like Canelo Alvarez. But I'm going to be honest with you. Benavidez looks motivated. I think he knows a loss here, especially if the fight's not even competitive. Benavidez is still going to have some opportunities, but he's going to pretty much be, put as like a gatekeeper at this point. And we know this. We know this. With that said, I'm not really going to, obviously the betting favorite's going to be Jermall Charlo based on the fact that he's more comfortable at the weight. Maybe not at 168 pounds, but he's still more comfortable at the weight. We'll see what happens and stuff. Do I think Jose Benavidez is a live dog? Absolutely. I think Jose Benavidez got a huge chip on his shoulder. I think with his brother on the card, he's going to want to show up. He's not going to want to go out there and disappoint. He's going to want to make it a 2 for 2 for the Benavidez brothers. So we're going to see what's going to happen. The big one, obviously, we want to talk about is David Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade. And I just want to kind of give you my take as far as the weigh-in today. So both fighters look really good. I have to say, though, I'm a bit surprised at the size of Demetrius Andrade. I know that, during the lead up to the fight, it was hard to really gauge the two fighters. Demetrius looks solid for 168 pounds. He filled out well. He's thick. He's in shape. His skin texture, he looks hydrated. David looked a little drawn to me. But let's be honest, the fact that David can make 168 pounds is mind-boggling. But when they went face-to-face, I didn't see a big difference in the size. If anything, to me, Andrade looked thicker. He looked like the more natural 168 pounds, where David, to me, kind of looked like a guy who maybe been fighting at 175 and stepped down to 168. Like I said, he looked a little drawn. Now, don't get me wrong. He's going to rehydrate tonight. He's going to come in a lot thicker, a lot nicer. But David's never been one of those sculpted type of fighters, coming in with a six-pack, all whatever. That's not his thing. But Andrade looks strong. I'm going to be honest with you. He looks strong. He looks confident. He looks ready. I like the fact that they both show mutual respect to each other, unlike Charlo and Jose Jr., who are, continuing their verbal jabs back at each other, disrespecting one another. Not so much Jermall, more Jose. David has a lot of respect, I think, for Andrade. He understands that this is a legitimate test. We don't know. It's stylistically, it's very hard to kind of gauge how this fight is going to go. I know a lot of people are saying, well, David's going to come in there and completely overpower Andrade, break him down, and ultimately stop him late in the fight, maybe just win a unanimous decision. But I'm going to tell you honestly, it's hard to really, because you can't really gauge Andrade against any one of David's past accomplishments. Not even Caleb Plant. To me, Caleb Plant, he fought the wrong fight. the worst thing that could have happened to Caleb Plant going into the fight against Benavidez was his devastating knockout of Jarrell. For some reason, Caleb Plant had this illusion in his head that he turned into a puncher, and he kind of abandoned that boxing style that had been so successful. And even in the first half of the fight against Canelo Alvarez, made that big mistake against David Benavidez. I don't see Andrade doing that. Now, the difference between Andrade and, say, Caleb Plant is Andrade has legitimate power. His record may not indicate that, but Andrade pretty much drops everybody he fights. So the guy's got pop. So I know David and his team have to be wary of the fact that Andrade is going to jump on him early. I told this to my brothers, both of them. Go back and watch the fight against, I believe it was Quigley. How fast. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Darnell Nicholson. Andrade jumped on him. I mean, it reminded me of like Peter McNeely against Mike Tyson. I mean, he just jumped on him. Don't be surprised if he tries to do that again, just to try to show David, hey, I'm here and I'm ready. David's going to be prepared for it. He's going to be ready for it. My question is this, is we've always seen David in the lead horse mode. It's kind of like he's the favorite. You know, the other guys are trying to play catch up. What happens if David is in a situation where he's playing catch up? Almost like what happened with him with Gravel, where it was give and take. If he's in one of those fights, so let's say for some reason Andrade just has David's ticket early on and maybe hurts David or just gets David second guessing himself, and David starts to fall behind in the cards. We're going to see what kind of character at that point David Benavidez has, because he's never been put in that situation before. Not to say Andrade's been put in that situation, but you know, Andrade's been dropped in fights before. David was dropped also in his fight against Ronald Gravel. But I mean, we're going to see. I mean, this is going to be more than just David overwhelming Andrade, because I think Andrade at 32-0 and being 35-year-old, you know, experienced boxer with an extensive amateur background, he's kind of been there, done that. Now, has he been in this level of competition in his career? No. This is by far the biggest fight in Demetrius Andrade's career. At this point, at 35 years old, this is the biggest fight in his life. For David Benavidez, this is the biggest fight in his life. Scratch out Caleb Plant, scratch out David Lemieux, scratch out whoever else you got to scratch out, because Demetrius Andrade is a completely different monster. This is a guy who, we got to look at it this way, people. Whoever wins this fight is legitimately going to break that pound for pound top 10. There's no reason why they don't. So we're going to see. I'm going to go out on the limb and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give you my prediction on this fight. I think David comes in and does what he always does. You know, he's going to try to look for those advantages. He's going to look for those holes, try to figure out Andrade. David, you know, David's he has a lot higher IQ, boxing IQ, than people give him credit for. But then again, he may be in there with a guy who has a little bit higher IQ than he does in Demetrius Andrade. I think Andrade is going to look for some of the flaws that David has shown in the past. The fact that David's he's got fast hands but slow feet. Let's be honest. He's got fast hands but slow feet. David doesn't do well when you make him turn. David doesn't fight well when you get him backing up. David has a bad tendency of going back straight up. So there's advantages there. David doesn't do well with his back against the ropes. So, I mean, these are things that I know Demetrius Andrade has already taken into account, and I'm pretty sure that he's come up with a game plan at that point. Whether or not David Benavidez is going to make those mistakes, he's going to have to power through a very aggressive Andrade. I think Andrade is going to surprise a lot of people just how aggressive he's going to be. Andrade is going to be there to be hit, but so is David. Don't be surprised if somebody gets hurt early and it ends. I'm going to go out on a limb. I know a lot of people are sticking to the fact that they think David's going to, like I said, he's going to eventually just break down Andrade. But, you know, not that I've always been high on Andrade, but I'm going to turn out. I think Demetrius Andrade, if he can get past those early rounds, if he can get into, let's say, the middle rounds, and it's still a very competitive, or possibly he's up on the cards, it might just start tilting in Andrade's favor. Because at that point, Andrade starts sitting down on his punches. Go back and look at some of his fights against Liam Wilson and some other ones. He starts sitting down on his punches. And at that point, you know, we're going to see exactly how durable David Benavidez is at that point. Because, like I'm going to say it again, Andrade, I'm not going to say he's a one-punch knockout artist, but he has pop. He's one of those guys that, you know, it's like, you know, it's a stunner, man. He hits you and you're stunned, and you know, he's like I said, he's going to understand that the opportunities for him to really create an era of vulnerability for David Benavidez is going to be small in between. So he's going to jump on whatever opportunity he has. So I'm going to go with Demetrius Andrade, unanimous 12-round decision. I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, whatever like this. I know it's going to be tough, but I don't think David holds an advantage in Las Vegas or Andrade. I think this is an actual neutral ground. So we're going to see what happens. So once again, you know, my prediction is I'm going to say Demetrius Andrade, unanimous decision in 12 rounds. It is what it is, I guess, you know. I mean, I'm excited. It's a full day of boxing. I mean, you got Demetrius Andrade, obviously, against David Benavidez in the main event. Then on top of that, you got his older brother, Jose Benavidez Jr., going up against Jamal Charlo. You got Sergey Lebanitz, you know, I mean, against Rivera. It just is so many. I mean, you got Matias going up against, I can't remember the guy's name right now, right off the top of my head and stuff, but they were kind of jawing at each other a bit and stuff. It's just a completely stacked card. Don't forget, you still got Katie Taylor and Chantel Sutherland. So it's going to be a great day of boxing and stuff. I'm excited. I think everybody should be excited at this point because this is going to be an amazing contest. And I take my hats off to PBC for putting together this amazing event. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and bounce out of here and stuff like this. But like I said, we'll try to get I'll try to get my brothers on, and we'll try to get a full take. Like I said, this is just a quick little, just kind of like what I was rumbling around in my head, what I was thinking about when I was thinking deeper and deeper into this Benavidez Andrade fight. So like I said, I wanted to kind of get away from a lot of that top player stuff that a lot of other guys are talking about. I'm not going to get too deep into it right now because let's be honest, nobody in boxing, don't let any of these guys trick you out there. Okay, I don't even give a shit if it's you know, guys like, you know, Sean Porter or whoever. Nobody knows what's going on in the heads of Demetrius Andrade and David Benavidez right now. They're assuming they can have an opinion, but there ain't no facts on it. It's boxing, people. It takes one punch. That's it. One punch changes a fight. Okay? It is what it is. Once again, it's your boy AJ Rage. This was Enter the Ring Live for those who believe boxing.